So, on to the last and most important graph. So first, some background on this graph. Revenue generation is important, but what you'll want to focus on is the revenue that remains after you deduct the direct cost of selling an item or service. To keep things simple, I call this direct profit. For example, you buy 3 tennis balls for $6 and sell those 3 balls as a 3-pack for $10. The revenue generated is $10, but the direct profit is only $4. Businesses measure the amount of direct profit they make per item in percentages. They call this the margin. In this case, since we're dealing with direct profit, we'll call it the direct margin. The direct margin for the 3-pack is found by dividing the direct profit by the revenue generated by the sale of the item. In this case, we divide 4 by 10, which gives us a 40% direct margin. In another way of saying this, there only remains 40% of the revenue after we deducted the cost of selling this item. Obviously, you want to keep as much revenue after deducing costs, so you should prefer items with a higher direct margin. Now let's compare this to another item, a plush toy. Which of these items would you prefer? I would take the 3-pack tennis balls time and time again. Although at first sight it might seem that the plush toy is generating more revenue, but I believe you should focus on direct profit and not just revenue, and from now on, so should you. You can find the direct profit, direct margin, and direct cost per item in the following graph. Number 1, you can pick the item you'd like to analyze using the drop-down list on the top left. The bar of the item you picked will light up in your model's own distinct color. Number 2, the table underneath the graph tells you the following things. It tells you about the average price of a blanket with hood increased by 30% in 2021 compared to 2020. The direct cost per blanket decreased by 50% in 2021 compared to 2020. And this is good for the pub hub, hence the green arrow that points down. The direct margin increased by 20% in 2021 compared to 2020. This means that for every blanket sold, we keep 20% more revenue after the deduction of direct cost. The direct profit increased by 44% in 2021 compared to 2020. This is driven by the increase in margin by 20% and the increase in amount sold by 6%. And we know the increase in quantity sold when we select the blanket with hood in the graph just above this one. And in the checklist, you get the smiley faces for free whenever you did a good job. Here's a tip. Your business can't be understood without numbers, but it can't be understood with numbers alone. And by this I mean that some companies sell items with a negative or zero gross profit for each sale. That means that it costs them more to sell an item than they get back from selling the item. They do this to get their foot in the door. Once the client bought the item, they're 95% sure they'll make back the money plus interest in the following months or years. Another tip, you should try to increase the sales volume of items with the highest direct margin. This way, you'll increase revenues faster than cost will increase. You can further increase direct margins by 1. Reducing the direct cost. And one way to do this is by buying your raw materials at a cheaper price, and this can be done by trying to get better deals with suppliers. Number 2. Increasing the price you sell them for. If you do this, make sure the increasing price doesn't affect the sales volume. There's always a sweet spot. Start looking for it. You can always use the graph above this one to check if the price increase of an item doesn't affect the quantity of items sold in a negative manner. Just choose to view the data of the same item in both graphs. As a final touch, you can enter a revenue goal you'd love to achieve this year. And there we have it. We are all done with our first dashboard. As you've seen, the power is in combining the findings of the different graphs and taking time to think about what you actually see and notice. This is how you'll derive better decision making. I think we can all agree here that without keeping track of our data and visualizing it, we wouldn't be able to draw all these conclusions. The rest of the data we entered in the sales journal will be displayed in the customer relationship dashboard and the sales team dashboard.